So we got a daycare. We got tons of babies in here.
They're going to be gone.
Deep in the heartland of the U.S. Great Plains is Moore, Oklahoma, a city with a history of heartache. An EF5 tornado screamed through this suburb of Oklahoma City on May 3, 1999. The storm flattened several neighborhoods and left nearly 4,000 people homeless. Winds roared over 500 kilometers an hour.
Oh my God!
Hopefully you're able to take shelter, you need to.
Then, 4 years later, in May 2003, another outbreak spawned hundreds of twisters in just 1 week. An EF4 tornado churned across the city's north end. Rebuilding once again, the residents of Moore put the horror of those tornadoes behind them. Or so they thought.
This is the worst case scenario.
This whole area is likely going under.
It's exhilarating right now.
Mark Robinson is a meteorologist and seasoned storm hunter. He shares an admiration of turbulent weather with his chase partner, meteorologist Jaclyn Whittal. Together, they study storms with the potential for tornadoes. Their goal is to expand their understanding of this beautiful but destructive phenomenon.
It's very different when you're tracking storms and chasing storms in the field because you are watching every single move they make. You are watching it from the forecast model stage at breakfast to the first tiny little cumulus cloud that you see out in the field, to the first blip on radar, to it developing a hook echo and possibly dropping a tornado, to worst case scenario, it's damage path.
The storm hunters head to the hotbed of active weather, Tornado Alley. All the weather conditions needed to trigger powerful thunderstorms are here. Dry polar air from the north collides with warm, moist tropical air from the Gulf of Mexico. Wide open plains give these forces of nature plenty of room to clash. The exact trigger needed to spin out a tornado is still unknown. Tornado Alley extends from central Texas to South Dakota. The chase begins in central Oklahoma, a storm hunting tradition. Oklahomans are no strangers to active weather. The capital city alone has been hit by over 150 tornadoes since 1890. The state is a mecca for weather buffs, both amateur and professional. The National Weather Service and Storm Prediction Center is located in Norman, Oklahoma. Rick Smith is a warning coordination meteorologist.
Well, obviously meteorologists that work in the National Weather Service, and especially in this office at the Norman Forecast Office, have a huge sense of responsibility when it comes to public safety. That's the reason we come to work every day. That's the reason we're here, is to provide information to people to let them take actions to protect themselves from dangerous weather.
Storm hunters share this responsibility. Mark and Jaclyn have been tracking severe weather for days. They've reported on several small tornadoes, mostly over empty fields. But their chaser's intuition sensed something big is about to happen.
We've actually pulled over on the side of the road to assess more model data just to see exactly where we should position ourselves. Lots of the right ingredients to help potentially have that tornado that we're looking for. Hopefully it doesn't do any major damage.
At the National Weather Service, the local storm prediction team shares the same concern.
The forecast of the severe weather and the tornadoes that occurred on May 20th actually began back on May 15th. The National Weather Service started identifying the parameters coming together that could cause severe thunderstorms and tornadoes over central Oklahoma.
This is a wall cloud. This is a lowering of the rain-free base on a thunderstorm cell, and that is where we are going to see a tornado if we're going to.
Veteran helicopter pilot John Welsh updates the local news station as he tracks the maturing storm from the sky.
The clouds were there. It was building really fast, so it really starts pulling in a lot of energy. And then you just historically look at it and go, man, this is right on track for the other two disasters that we've had through the area.
Across town, Abby Larsen watches over young children and babies at her daycare.
On May 20th, I didn't really think anything abnormal was going to happen. We knew the day before there was bad weather, and they had forewarned us that it could possibly be, but in Oklahoma you never know if it's going to be bad or not, so we just went on with our whole day.
At the National Weather Service, however, the storm seizes their full attention.
The whole day was a high state of urgency and a high level of confidence that we were going to have very severe thunderstorms. It was just a question of exactly where and what the impacts are going to be.
The clouds were there. It was building really fast, so it really starts pulling in a lot of energy. And then you just historically look at it and go, man, this is right on track for the other two disasters that we've had through the area.
You could see it brewing, getting darker.
And I look at the clock, you know, it's coming up on 3 o'clock. We still have 2 schools that are definitely in the area. So that is weighing on my mind.
Ourselves whenever we had big front windows at the school, and I stayed out there watching until it was about 2 blocks away. And at that point I knew it was not going to turn anywhere and we were going to take a direct hit.
491, where's your emergency?
You're dealing with the event itself. You're looking at a blob on radar and you're looking at images on television, but at the same time, you know that your family is at risk.
So what's going through my head at that time is just the sheer devastation it's doing, trying to get people, tell them the location as fast as I can. It's just coming through the neighborhoods, you know, you're just praying. I hope everybody's okay, or I hope they're down, or where they need to be. And you just see the storm, it's like 3/4 of a mile, half a mile base, and then once it crosses I-44 and gets in the neighborhoods, it instantaneously doubles in size.
When it got closer, we all went in the bathroom. They grabbed the nap time mats, and we said, you know, we all got to hold on to, both hands have to hold on to someone and don't let go for anything. Just hold on tight. We put the mats on top, and by that point, the lights started flickering on and off. And I quickly grabbed my cell phone and I called my mom and I told her that I knew she had Parker. And I said, tell Parker I love him. And I thought that was going to be the last time I ever was able to even tell her anything, and that was the worst part.
Just like everything was like, it just looked weird.
The wall started just shaking back and forth, and the suction of the tornado, just the pressure was on your ears and your head, and I heard several of the kids crying, but several of the teachers were saying, I love you, you're gonna be okay, and you'll be fine, you know, we love you.
It's okay.
so tight, and they were so strong because, I mean, I was crying not knowing where my kid was. And the roof popped off, the lights went off. It was just chaos, like just from the debris hitting you, the dust flying. I thought I was gonna die.
More 911. Hey, we got right here on 4th and Telephone Road, we got a daycare full of babies. Okay. We need help bad. Okay. Do you got me? We need help bad. We got a daycare that just got cremated. Okay, sir. Where are you at? 510 South Telephone. We got tons of babies in here. Okay, we'll get somebody up there. All right, we need help bad.
And I just getting word that there's 75 kids trapped in Moore, Oklahoma, and we're pretty shaken up by this news. It sounds awful. They're telling media to stay out of the area so that they can do some rescue, and it's pretty emotional in the car right now.
Then it was over, and I looked up and I tried to stand up, but we couldn't stand up. We were all buried, and I said, okay, on the count of 3, we've all got to stand up together. We're not going to get out of this rubble.
With all the walls of her daycare now gone, Abby should be able to see Briarwood Elementary School across the field. What she sees instead is gut-wrenching.
Knew how bad it was when I looked up and I looked east and I saw the elementary school gone. I knew it was bad when you look and everything's gone. You can see farther than you've ever been able to see, and there's holes everywhere and trees, and there's cars upside down, and it looked like a war zone.
It really hits you when you see the elementary schools. Plaza Towers was chaotic. Kids just running out. They've got debris on their face, they're muddy, and they're just looking for somebody to grab them, somebody to love on them, because they've just been through a huge emotional experience that hopefully they never have to see again.
It is highly unusual for a storm like this to trigger during school hours. Tornadoes most often occur in the heat of late afternoon, usually after 4 o'clock. 3 schools are struck on this day. A junior high school is partially damaged, but 2 elementary schools are demolished. Not a single wall remained at Briarwood Elementary School, but miraculously, everyone survived. Plaza Towers Elementary is not so lucky. 7 young lives are lost.
That was particularly bad because I remember over there when they pulled out the first child, but then you realize that all that screaming is actually the parents standing there is watching you pull those people out. Nobody should ever have to see that, especially a parent.
More 911. Yes, we just got a call from a gentleman that lives in Moore that his house has collapsed on his kids at 1316 Penn Lane. More 911.
Yes, we're at work. We're at 604 South Crescent. There's people down. We're stuck under rubble.
Yes, ma'am. We've got a call. We'll get them out there as soon as we can.
Please hurry.
We'll get them out there as soon as we can. Thank you.
An EF5 tornado has once again ravaged Moore, Oklahoma. It's been mere minutes since the storm passed through, and the local authorities are already on the scene. Volunteers flood in, desperate to help. The military dig through the wreckage in hopes of finding survivors.
Our prayers are with the people of Oklahoma today. Our gratitude is with the teachers who gave their all to shield their children, with the neighbors, first responders, and emergency personnel who raced to help as soon as the tornado passed, and with all of those who, as darkness fell, searched for survivors through the night.
First
job was to figure out the perimeter and where we needed to start blocking streets, and because of the danger to the power lines and gas lines, and obviously rescue too. The officers that were out there were immediately assisting people who lost their homes, were trapped in their shelters, those kinds of things.
It's all just about creating order of a very unorderly situation, and at the same time enabling those first responders to accomplish their mission.
The confusion, just their appearance, some bloody, some muddy, the same that you see. And, the big question a lot of people ask is why?
The National Guard is immediately deployed. Despite damage to their own homes, soldiers rush to help their neighbors first.
It's just real sad to see your community like this. You don't want to see your community, hometown make the world news in this way.
We just drove into the damage path here in Moore, Oklahoma. There really aren't words to describe what I'm seeing in front of me. This is just absolute devastation as far as you can see.
It's hard to, put on a straight face for everything when you see everybody hurting.
A lot of times you don't have to say anything. You're not going to be able to say some magic line and make things better for them. And a lot of people are very offended with the phrase closure, because you never completely forget or get over that kind of loss. You just learn to deal with it.
Our thoughts and prayers are with them, particularly those that have lost loved ones. I'm a dad. Know there were some children lost, That's tough stuff.
Our biggest issue lately, what we've been talking about, is we just don't understand. Moore's not that big. It's only 23 square miles, and those big tornadoes seem to hit us. It's the third big tornado. We don't understand why it keeps hitting us, our little small spot on the map.
The people of Moore should know that their country will remain on the ground, there for them, beside them, as long as it takes. For there are homes and schools to rebuild, businesses and hospitals to reopen, their parents to console, first responders to comfort, and of course frightened children who will need our continued love and attention. There are empty spaces where there used to be living rooms and bedrooms and classrooms, and in time we're going to need to refill those spaces with love and laughter and community.
Storm Hunter meteorologist Mark Robinson from what is the heart of the damage path here in Moore, Oklahoma, and I can't even. This is unbelievable. The damage is incredible.
Abby Larsen's daycare is obliterated. It is believed the tornado reached top-scale EF5 status at this location, with gusting winds screaming over 320 kilometers an hour. You are not expected to survive if you are above ground.
There was a daycare over here. Serious heroics going on. There was a bunch of children in there, and the woman who was running the daycare grabbed the 7-month-old that she had in the daycare and pushed her down and held her underneath, and along with the other kids, and they all survived.
A parking sign spray-painted on the curb is all that remains of the daycare. Starting from scratch seems overwhelming, but Abby has no time for self-pity.
I knew that immediately I had to find a safe place to go. And I knew that if it took 3 or 4 weeks, then we would lose kids, I would lose employees, they lost income. So immediately, my focus was on finding a new building.
In the days that followed, families rummage for lost possessions. Entire communities are bulldozed. Vows to rebuild are whispered. Amidst the rubble, the mood begins to lift.
We had an estimated 9,000 people physically in the damage path of the tornado. And I never want to say only 24 people died, but that's a miraculously small number. When you look at all the structures, the hospital with over 300 people, the tornado safety rules do still work, and they do still save lives.
You've got to have hope, because without it, emotionally, it would drain you. So all you've got to do is look forward. I mean, each day, especially at the beginning, is each day at a time, but you just got to hope and pray that everything's going to happen for a reason, and it does, because that day we should not have lived, and we did.
It took almost 2 years to rebuild her dream, but Abby has a place to call her own once again.
The emotions of losing something that never going to be built again is hard, but I just kept making goals. That my goal for 2014 was to have a new center open. If it happens again, I probably will not reopen. This would be it, but at least we're open for now.
Sure enough, an EF5 tornado touched down in March 2015, narrowly missing Abby's new daycare. While no one knows exactly why Moore has been repeatedly punished by nature, they refuse to be defeated. Both elementary schools destroyed by the tornado have since been rebuilt, this time with storm shelters. Fresh subdivisions have replaced the deep scar left in the tornado's wake. The journey to recovery is tough, but the community spirit is tougher.